It's Timmy time.
That's your ass, Timmy. Timmy. He's a little lamb with a lot to learn. He's always having such a lot of fun, Timmy. Little lamb with a lot to learn.
KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. I'm Kerri Kasem. I'm filling in for Tim Conway Jr. Man, they weren't going to play that Timmy time, and I said, no, you have to play the Timmy time. You have to, because every time I listen to Tim, I sing along with it, especially the Petros. I laugh. I'm Kerri Kasem. Like I said, I am so honored to be filling in for Tim right now. We worked together for many years at a defunct station. We were at 97.1, the FM talk station together.
Many would say defunct before it actually went defunct.
Yes. How dare you?
No.
We had a blast. And I learned a lot from Tim. He was great. Well, tonight I'm really excited because I've got a few great guests. One of them being Assemblyman Mike Gatto, who's helped me with a visitation bill. I'm going to get into why he's helped me with a visitation bill. Also, my super lawyer. I call him super because he's one of the reasons why I got to see my dad, Troy Martin. And then at 9, besides having part of a bender, the news bender, we have on Logan Clark, who is a human trafficking and extraction specialist, and he has got some crazy stories. But for those of you who don't know who I am and don't know what's been going on with my family and what's been happening for the last few months, it's been longer than a few months, actually. It's been a year this month. My father, Casey Kasem, was blocked, and we were blocked from seeing him. Last July it started, actually. We had seen my father, me, my brother, my sister. Let's see him once a week. And we talked to him every single day on the phone until his disease, which went from Parkinson's to Lewy body dementia, his disease kicked in, and he couldn't pick up the phone and call us anymore. And when he got sicker than that and he couldn't ask his driver to drive him over to see us, we got locked out, completely blocked from seeing our father. And this is a man we were very, very, very close with. So 3 months goes by with our phone calls not being answered. We would call his wife and we would email, and we even went over to the house and we said, we want to see Dad. What's going on? Why won't you let us see Dad? And there was no reason. It was just, sorry, you won't be seeing your father any longer. So some of you have seen the protest on TV. We protested. And let me say, there's been a couple misconceptions about this protest. And it was a protest only to say, let us see Dad. And to say, hey, it's not just Casey Kasem's kids that are after his mean wife and the wife with these horrible kids. It's not just the kids. It's his brother. It's his aunts. It's all of his friends. It's 3 people that have known him for 63 years that went to Wayne State with him. It's the co-creator of American Top 40, Tom Rounds, who died a few weeks ago, right before my dad died. So it was not just the kids saying, hey, we want to see our dad. It was all of my father's friends and family. And we held signs up saying, please let us see Casey. I miss my brother. My uncle was there, Uncle Munir, and he said, I want to see my brother. And I said, I want to see my dad. Just let us see our loved one. But that didn't work. So we had to go to the courts, and we went to the courts, and I tried everything to get visitation before we had to pull out what my dad signed in 2007, which was a health directive. We had asked my dad in 2007 when he was diagnosed, Dad, please do something so that we can see you again. Because we actually thought this might happen. So it wasn't a shocker when we were blocked, because my stepmother, Jean Kasem, actually did this to her 8 siblings when her mother got sick. Blocked all the siblings from her mother, did not tell the siblings what she had, that she was dying, also didn't notify them that she died or where she was buried. So we had a heads up on this. We had a heads up saying, you know what? This may happen to our family. And it did. So we went to court, and after a month in court, we realized this was kind of going nowhere. We pulled out the durable power, the 2007 durable power that my father had signed to my sister Julie and her husband Jamil, saying, I want them to make decisions. Now, why would he do that? You say, why? People are saying, why would he go behind his wife's back and do that? Well, my sister is a physician's assistant, and her husband is a doctor at UCLA. He's a cardiologist, and he had been helping my dad and, making sure he had the right medicines and was seeing the very best doctors. And that was not the case with his wife. And then again, I bring up the fact that we were blocked. And she had blocked her own mother. Anyway, let's forward this story a little bit, because I definitely want to get into some of the stuff with the bill and why I decided that there needs to be a visitation bill. So we went up against another durable power in conservatorship. My stepmother pulled out a 2011 durable power conservatorship over our durable power and said, this one trumps that one. And if we wanted to prove that hers did not hold up because my dad had dementia, it was going to cost $100,000 to $150,000. So my sister and my brother settled for a visitation, and that visitation would be 1 hour once a month with an armed guard in the room writing down everything they said. And I said, I will not sign a piece of paper that treats my father like an inmate and like we're criminals. No way. What else can I do? If I can't win in this courtroom, what else can I do? And I said, I got to create a bill. I got to do something. Because at this point, I went public with it, and I was talking about it on my radio show. I was talking about it on TV shows, and I started getting letters from people. And they were saying, I'm going through your same exact issue. And I don't know what to do. I don't have $100,000. I don't know how to get a conservatorship. I can't hire a high-priced attorney. I don't know what to do. So I said, we're going to do something. And if this has happened to you, and you need some advice and you want to talk about this, give me a call. Mike Gatto's going to be on in just a few minutes. My lawyer, Troy Martin's going to be on. If you just tuned in, I'm Kerri Kasem. I'm filling in for Tim Conway Jr. And the number here, 800-520-1KFI. That's 800-520-1KFI. I'll take your call. So will my lawyer and so will Mike Gatto. But there's so many people going through this exact same thing. So I finally said, after a few months of not seeing my dad and Jean actually giving visitation to my sister and brother, I think they got 1 or 2 visits, and then she moved him. She moved him 5 different times to 5 different nursing homes. And after that, I said enough's enough, and I hired Troy Martin. Troy Martin fixed a lot of things for me. In fact, I did not know this, and if this is going on in your family and you can't see your loved one, you are an adult child that is being blocked from an ailing parent, and your ailing parent is in a nursing home, and they said they want to see you, you have every right to see them, and they have every right to see you. The only way that a stepmother or a parent can block an adult child is if that person is living at home. Once that person is in a nursing home, you have complete access to that person. I did not know that. Thank you, Martha Patterson, my elder law attorney, and Troy Martin. I got to see my dad after 5 months. I got to see him. This was May 6th. I got to see him May 6th. My sister got to see him. We saw my dad. He was awake. He was alive. He was cognizant. He could speak to us. And this is just a couple months ago. We got my brother on Skype because my brother lives in Singapore. And he talked to all of us, and we had a 3-hour visit. At 12 o'clock that night, my stepmother came and ripped him out of the nursing home she put him in because we got a visit. And that's the only reason she did this. Now, he was hooked up to feeding tubes and IVs, and she was told specifically by the doctor, if you do this, you will put his life in danger. The nurses said the same thing to Gene Kasem. If you do this to your husband, Casey Kasem, you could kill him. And she ripped him out of there anyway. And 2 weeks later, when I had fought for conservatorship, I had won conservatorship because of her shenanigans moving him. She moved him from California. She then went to Nevada. She stayed at the Vidara Hotel for a couple nights. Then from the Vidara Hotel, she went to Arizona. Couldn't find a hideout there, so right back to Nevada. This is a man who needs to be on a special bed hooked up to IVs with a feeding tube. She then went back to Nevada, then decided, I knew people in the 60s that might let me stay in their home in Washington, and flew up to Washington. And by that time, my dad had a bed sore bigger than my hand on his back, and he had a lung infection, a bladder infection, and was not doing well when I finally got to see him. I fought, and I got the right to take him to a hospital, and at that point, he kept going downhill, 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 and I realized he wasn't going to get better. No matter what we did, I realized, and my sister realized, my brother realized. In fact, we called him in Singapore, and we said, get out here, Dad's not going to make it. He came out, his brother came out, his best friend Gonzalo Venecia, one of his best friends, came out, and same with my aunt, and we were all there with him. And there was a couple times where I thought he was getting better, and I actually, even though they said if you give him food and water, you are going to make it worse, he seemed like he was getting better. I said, let's give him some hydration. Maybe my dad's going to make it. He might make it. We gave him hydration, and he started to drown, and it was the worst sound I've ever heard in my entire life. And if you've ever heard somebody's lungs fill up with water and them trying to breathe, it is horrible. So we had to let him go. If a visitation bill was in place, this would never have happened to my dad. My dad would be living right now, and we're going to get into why the visitation bill is so important. We're going to talk to Mike Gatto after the break. We're going to talk to Troy Martin after the break. If you are in this situation, or you know somebody that is in this same situation, give me a call. 800-520-1KFI. That's 800-520-1KFI. I'm Kerri Kasem, filling in for Tim Conway Jr. right here on AM 640.
Tomorrow's Success from Scratch. What started as a play date between three kids playing music ends up with a Sony record deal. And it's headbanging music. That's tomorrow at 8.
Bill Handel. Mornings. KFI. AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. I'm Kerri Kasem, filling in for Tim Conway Jr. If you missed it, I was talking a little bit about what has been going on with my family for the last year, and that was me and my brother and my sister and my father's friends all being blocked from seeing him and being in the courts fighting to see my dad being Casey Kasem, who died, it's a little over a month and 1 day today. And why we so desperately need a bill that prevents this from happening to other families and to other people. And a man named Mike Gatto, Assemblyman Mike Gatto, I feel like I want to say he's my hero, came to my rescue. And we have him on the line with us. Mike, you there?
I'm here.
Thank you so much for being on
and
air.
And you know, on Twitter, there was a conversation, as you know, back and forth where people were going to ask us if we were going to be as funny as Tim Conway Jr.
I saw that.
Well, I got to say, your voice is a whole lot prettier.
Well, thank you. Yeah, he's genius. Tim is genius. I could never be. I don't think I'm a funny person per se, but Tim's genius, and I can't. Do you have a joke, Mike?
Well, we can urge the audience to get another drink, and maybe we'll be funny. Yeah.
There we go. So I really wanted to talk about the importance of this bill. I call it the visitation bill, but it's AB 2034, and I want you to explain it to people who don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, my staff always warns me that I'm unpopular enough as a politician and I shouldn't speak lawyer, but here goes. So I mean, you outlined the status quo. I mean, right now, if you've got someone who is married to your parent doing the stuff that your stepmother was doing, it's a really complex process to get visitation. You can seek a conservatorship, but it's a very high bar. It's very expensive. It takes a long time, and you have to prove certain abuses, and it's complicated. Another option is you could seek a temporary restraining order, but that's an even harder standard. Mm-hmm. And I think, after hearing your case, everybody said, why can't it be more simple? We need a simple process to petition a court just to stop a parent, a step-parent, from interfering with visitation of a loved one, especially when that loved one, is a senior citizen who is toward the end of his or her years.
That's right.
And in certain circumstances, we need the court to appoint counsel for the senior citizen if it's clear that the step-parent is abusive. And we want things like notification if that senior dies. I mean, we've heard from the same people that you have, and there's a lot of families out there who don't even know where their loved one is buried.
Like me. Me. I don't know if he's buried. I don't know where he's buried. We don't know anything because you're right. If we had this law in place, my stepmother would have to tell us where she is planning to bury him and where he is now. But right now it's a mystery where my dad's body is. Nobody knows where it is. So, I'm sorry, Mike, continue.
No, and that's a huge tragedy. It's really important to allow families to pay their final respects, both in person when their parent is alive, and of course when they're passed away. And we're trying to avoid. I mean, so often when the legislature passes a law, we all go back and say, what were they thinking? We want this law to be something that's common sense and practical and really make a difference in people's lives. We even have the component in there to let a senior pre-list certain relatives on a form where they can say, hey, if I ever fall ill, if I'm ever put away somewhere, these are the people who want to visit me, and they should be able to get in no matter what some person does. It's not just step-parents. Sometimes it's an evil caretaker. It's God knows who trying to prevent people from seeing their loved one, and that has got to stop.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk more about this. We've got to take a quick break. I'm Kerri Kasem, filling in for Tim Conway Jr. on KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. I'm with Mike Gatto. We're going to take your calls next. 800-520-1KFI. And now more news with Aaron Bender.
Mindless party lines will be towed elsewhere. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. More stimulating talk.
It's Kerri Kasem filling in for Tim Conway Jr. on KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. If you just tuned in, talking about my family situation, my father being Casey Kasem, and this last year being completely blocked from seeing him until the very end of his life. My family and I got to spend the last 15 days with my dad, and we all watched him take his last breath. Almost the whole family was there. Not the entire family. But I decided because of the situation, we got to do something about this. I created the Kasem Cares Foundation. So if you want to look that up, it's kasemcaresfoundation.org. And I said, we got to do something. We got to have a bill. There's got to be a law in place. And Mike Gatto, Assemblyman Mike Gatto, said, I'm going to help you. Mike, you still there?
I'm still here.
That's excellent. We've got so many calls, so many people that are in my same situation. Can we take a few?
I sure hope so, yeah.
Okay. Sandra in Rancho Santa Margarita. Sandra, you're on with me and Mike Gatto.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call. First of all, I'd just like to say my condolences to you, Kerri, and your family. Your dad, I mean, I lived the top 20 years. I mean, my heart goes out to you. And I want to just thank you and Assemblyman Mike Gatto for being a voice for this situation that I'm also presently in. I have a sister that has decided, well, I'm just going to keep Mom to myself. And I'm going on almost a year in October of not being able to talk to my mother, who has dementia and is pretty much wheelchair bound. And so I can't tell you how much this bill, for this bill to happen. And if I have to be involved, I'm so happy to be someone to also come forward and speak on this behalf. I just presently got my sister's address, and she lives probably 25 minutes from me, from a detective.
Oh,
I just
good.
wanted to know what is some of the process of what should I do now to
Well, besides
see
waiting
my
for,
mother.
if the bill passes, and Mike, I know that we have a really good shot at this, correct?
I hope so. Sacramento can surprise me. I know the process has surprised you a couple times going through it. Sometimes it doesn't always make sense, but I would hope that the bill would pass. Our deadline, of course, is August 31. Then we have to convince the governor to sign it. The deadline for that is late September. And if he signs it, it becomes law on January 1. So I'm hoping your mother, can hold on until January 1. And I'm hoping that, on that day you can be in a courtroom using this bill to get to see your mom.
Oh, I just thank you so much, Mike. I can't even tell you. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there, but I'm sure a lot of people who are just going to be feeling like you're a voice for these senior citizens as well.
And
that these caretakers can't continue to think they can have that kind of power.
Sandra, you're right. And not only can this bill help you, but also, too, I want you to continue to write letters, emails, and keep them all stating, to your sister, I want to see mom. And be very nice. Don't be angry. Just say, look, I want to see mom. And whatever the beef is between you and me, that has nothing to do with you letting me see mom. And keep those letters so when you go to court and when this bill gets passed, you go up there and you say, these are the letters. I have tried to see my mom for the last year and it's not happening. And the bill can kick in and work for you.
Should I just I would not, I don't think that my sister is even aware that this is going on.
Let her know. Let her know.
Should I mention that in the letter? I wasn't sure if I should give her that kind of heads up.
Well, you know what? Maybe try first. And if you're not getting anywhere, say, hey, look, there's a bill being created, and it could actually put you as a possible elder abuser if you don't let me see mom. What you were doing is isolating a loved one from the family. So, good luck to you, Sandra. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you so much. If you just tuned in, I'm Kerri Kasem filling in for Tim Conway Jr. I've got Assemblyman Mike Gatto on the line, and we're talking about a visitation bill, AB 2034, which would allow a judge to rule on visitation. And it's that simple. Can you believe that? A judge can't rule on just visitation. You have to have a conservatorship. You have to have a durable power of attorney. That could cost $100,000 to $150,000, and then you're still not guaranteed visitation with your loved one. It's insane. So what this bill would do would be to allow a judge, if whoever the adult child is, with an ailing parent, to go up and say, I want to see my parent. The judge says, okay. They send out a court-appointed attorney or a doctor. They ask the loved one, do you want to see your kids? Yes, you get visitation. No, you don't get visitation. It's as simple as that. If that loved one is not able to speak, you look at the child-parent history and you make visitation on that. It is that simple. Mike, why is there not a law out there? Why is this? How could there be such a gaping hole in the law system?
No, it's amazing, and it's a really good question. I mean, the volume of people who have written in about this bill is astounding. I know there's a lot of people out there who say, this is a Kerri Kasem issue. She's very glamorous. She's a celebrity. But no, there are so many people out there going through this exact same thing. It doesn't just happen to celebrity families. We have gotten thousands of letters between us, you and I.
Yeah.
And this really strikes a chord. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are going through this, and sadly enough, as families change and as, the world gets more complicated, I think there's a lot of people who sadly do this type of thing. They try to isolate a loved one for various reasons. It could be financial. It could be just that they're mean-spirited. But there's an awful lot of people going through this, and I agree that the law needs to change.
Absolutely, it does. If you are in this same situation, are you being blocked? Are you being blocked from seeing a loved one? Give us a call. In the next hour, I have Troy Martin on with me. He's my lawyer, and he's the one who helped me see my father. But call us, 800-520-1KFI. That's 888-520-1KFI. We've got Naz in Los Angeles. Naz, how's it going?
Hi, Kerri. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so glad you called in.
I know.
You see this all the time.
I do. I'm an estate planning attorney, and first I have to honestly applaud you for the work that you are doing, because you are genuine and you have a voice for people that don't have a voice. That's number one. And number two, because I'm an estate planning attorney and I can see the signs, the red flags when a client comes into my office and they're only coming with one parent, or their spouse is changing their estate plan or preventing them from seeing their kids, the attorney needs to speak up. And this is where I urge a lot of attorneys to get involved with this organization, because I see this every day in my office, where I see a client coming in saying, I haven't seen my parent, or my stepmom or my stepdad is preventing me from seeing my parent, and I just want to love and take care of them. And that is what you have been doing. And I think the misconception is that you and your siblings were out for money, but I don't see that here. You guys never disputed the trust. You never went after your father's estate. You just wanted to see him. And that's what I think everyone needs to focus on right now.
Yeah, and we proved that. I mean, we were in courts for a year and nobody asked for money here. No, nobody. In fact, what's so funny is we got letters, all of us, me, my brother, my sister, where Jean is going after our trust fund. So it's the absolute opposite. Everything that she was worried about that we were going to do is go after her money, and she's coming after our trust fund. So
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
And if she genuinely cared about your father, she would show him the dignity that he deserves and give him an appropriate burial.
Right.
And that's what everyone needs to remember. I know your family gave a beautiful memorial, and there was just so much love from what the reports that I heard, and I just really want to thank you, and I want all attorneys that are estate planning attorneys to speak up and get involved with this organization. It's so important.
Thank you so much, Naz. Thank you for calling in. Mike, we've got to take a break. Can you stay just a few more minutes with us? We're going to put Troy Martin on. I'd love for you to stay. I know it's your anniversary.
No, absolutely. I'm happy to stay on.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. You are listening to KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. I'm Kerri Kasem, filling in for the vacationing Tim Conway Jr., and we'll be right back.
You want live and local all day long? Don't go anywhere. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk.
It's Kerri Kasem filling in for Tim Conway Jr. on KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. We've been talking about what's been going on with my family, the whole Casey Kasem ordeal, the situation that we've been in, being blocked from seeing my father up until the last few weeks of his life. I have my lawyer with me, joining me in studio, Troy Martin, the super lawyer, and Mike Gatto, assembly member. I keep saying assemblyman, but assembly member Mike Gatto. You both are here, and we've all been working so hard on this. So thank you, Troy, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And is your wife going to kill you, Mike?
No, she understands how important this is, and she's okay with it.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yes. So we have Steve. He's on the line. He's kind of on the opposite side of this. Steve in Los Angeles. You're on with Kerri Kasem, Mike Gatto, and Troy Martin.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
It's a pleasure to speak with you guys, and definitely, Kerri, my heart goes out to you and your family and the struggles. I am on the other side, and my fear for this bill is that it only favors and it leans more towards people in your situation, Kerri. I, on the other hand, my wife and I were actually on the other side of the fence where, her in-laws, we were taking care of her grandparents, and her aunts were just constantly harassing us, calling every day, and just causing a buzz in the family, saying that their parents weren't being taken care of. And we were lucky because her brother's an estate attorney out of Century City, and gave us power of attorney and all that. And they didn't come from money. They didn't have a lot, and it's just it's a difficult task when you're taking care of someone with Alzheimer's or with dementia, and have this constant bombardment from people that have no involvement with their in-laws or with their family.
But are they calling? Let me ask you this: are they calling to say, "Hey, we want to say goodbye at the end of this person's life"? Or what would you consider or deem harassment?
Oh, just calling every day, all hours of the day, asking her how is she doing? Does she have her makeup on? Is her hair done? What is she doing? And this is a woman that hasn't talked for 3 years because of her dementia and her Alzheimer's. And, going around and just saying false stories about my wife and their care. And that's the struggle that I have with this bill is, how does it affect people in my situation that, that don't get the voice heard about their side of the story. And
that's a valid question. And hopefully I can answer it. I don't think this bill will affect a situation like yours at all. If anything, remember what it's trying to do is to provide access to the courts in a way that is less complicated and less expensive and less time-consuming. And if you get a chance, if they were to petition for the right to visit, I would submit that they probably do have a right to visit their loved one, but you would also have a chance to go into court, of course, and mention that there's some harassment going on and things that you don't exactly feel are above board or proper for your loved one. So I don't think this bill would hurt you in any way. If anything, I think it might speed things up for you to get a chance to at least tell your side of the story if you get called into court.
Exactly, and that and my thing is that us taking care of them was completely transparent. It was an open door policy, and just the constant bombardment. It's the physical strain that one caretaker has to handle, as well as the emotional strain that it takes on a family. Because I had young teenagers helping me change diapers, shower, as well as working a full-time job, and then on top of the emotional stress that you get from family who never come and see their parents. It just wears on a person, and it's hard to want to go into a legal battle with, something that's so time-consuming and takes more energy than you already have, if you understand what I mean. So, that's my struggle with the bill. It's, how does that work for someone on my side or people in my situation?
Right. And Troy, I know that you had something to add to this as well.
Well, first of all, let me start off by saying, Steve, I'm really sorry to hear that you have to go through that. You have one of the most difficult jobs in the world to watch a loved one and take care of them and then be subjected to that sort of harassment. As an attorney, I've seen this issue on both sides. I've represented people like Kerri. I've represented the caregivers, the sons, daughters, wives who are trying to take care of the individual the best way that they can. But the important thing is it's got to start with the wishes of the person, the wishes of your mother. The law right now, even if you're in a conservatorship, the person, the proposed visitee, is the one who has the right to say, I want to see this person or I don't want to see this person. Another important thing about the law is that will help a person like you is it gives the judge the right to set parameters for what these visits are going to be, time limits, whether there needs to be somebody present to witness and to make sure that things don't get out of line, limit the amount of time, the days, the number of times that they can call. So that sort of those sort of protections are being built into the law.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you guys. And definitely, there's several factors and variations to everyone's story that this bill is, concerned with. But I just wish the best for any family that's going through this, depending on no matter what side you're on, really.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys. You guys take care and hope the bill works out for everyone, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
If you just tuned in, you're listening I'm Kerri Kasem, and I was going to say you're listening to me filling in for Tim Conway, but I should throw my name out there. I'm Kerri Kasem. I'm filling in for Tim Conway. We've got Mike Gatto on the line, Troy Martin is going to stay with us through the next hour to take your phone calls. If this is happening to you, if you are being blocked from a loved one, if you're an adult child that is being blocked from an ailing parent, we want to hear from you, and you can get free advice from my super attorney, Troy Martin. So give us a call, 800-520-1KFI. That's 800-520-1KFI. Mike, what's next for us?
What's next for us is getting this bill passed through the California State Senate, and then, everybody out there who's going through this, everybody who is experiencing this, we'd like them to write their lawmaker, write the governor, just shoot a quick email and just say how important it is to you. Make sure they get it passed. They can contact my office. They can find me on Twitter at twitter.com, Mike Gatto. They can find me by Googling my name. If they don't know how to contact the governor or to contact their lawmakers, they can contact us and we'll put them in touch.
And yes, right. And that's at Mike Gatto, and that's Gatto. I see a lot
Thanks
of
for spelling it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I know. A lot of people spell it wrong.
So yeah, at Mike Gatto. Thank you so much for taking the time out and calling. It's thank you so much for all you're doing for every one of us that are in my shoes. So thank you.
Oh, and thank you for seeing this through. A lot of people would have given up after going through what you did, but you're doing this for other people now, and I thank you so much for that.
Thanks, Mike. I'll see you soon. So in the next hour, if you do have a similar situation, you want to talk to one of the best attorneys in Los Angeles, Troy Martin. He is giving us an hour, and that's from 8 to 9. We're going to discuss a little bit more about my case and some of the cases that you've taken on. So give us a call, 800-520-1KFI. That's 800-520-1KFI. It's Kerri Kasem filling in for Tim Conway Jr. right here on AM 640 KFI.